The love I get from patients will, it makes me better as a healthcare worker because I see how it affects them, and I know I know within me that I'm doing something right. Just to see a smile on a patient's face to me is everything. It's like just to see them smile. They may have come in with, not feeling this, with not feeling well. They may come in, some patients just come in, not just really wanting to be verbal or talk to you. Sometimes we get the most difficult patients. I have some difficult patients, but with me, they're completely different. I will hear the other staff say, well, they weren't like that when they checked in. But I know that it made a complete difference when I took them to the room and we talked a while and they leave out like they're a completely different person. I can't explain how that happens, but I will say it has a lot to do with, love and not treating that person as a human being, a family member, or treating them like, they're someone, which they are. They're someone special to me, even if no one else treats them that way. I will. And, me, I continue to, and I will continue to make them feel exactly that way, because that's how, if I was in that person's place, in that person's shoes, I would want them to do me the same way. If my mom, my brother, my aunt, my sister, if they were in that person's shoes, or if they went into a facility, I would want them to be treated the same way that I treat the patients, because I look at it as if, we're in this together. We're in this for a reason. We all have a job in healthcare for a reason. We were chosen in this field for a reason. We chose this field for a reason. We chose it to actually make a difference, actually to help people. And I think that that's what we should do, and we should continue to do. And even as things, in the world, as they get good or bad, we need to continue to fight with what we were, what we basically promised to do, which was help, which was treat everyone, as if they were a human being, to serve. That's what we're here to do.
So healthcare is more than just treating the physical. Is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
More than healthcare is more than just physical. It's mental. It can be social. It's a lot. It can help the healthcare worker as well as the patient. It's like, even though we work in that field, it's almost like we're treating ourselves as well as treating the patients. So.
Can you tell us a little bit about your mom, like why you treasure her so much, why? And it sounds like a silly question, but not everyone values their parents enough to take that much time out of their already busy day to care for them and make sure they're okay. So can you tell us a little bit about just why you love her, why you invest in her the way you do?
Well, my mom, she's a great person. She's always been there for everyone. My mom has had so many obstacles, or when I say, things with her health. My mom was diagnosed, at maybe in her 30s with diabetes and hypertension. My mom, over the years, my mom's kidneys failed, and she was, they placed a fistula in her arm, and then she was placed on dialysis. She's been on dialysis now about almost 4 years. But my mom took care of her mom when my grandmom was sick. But that's not the reason why I take care of my mom. I take care of my mom because I felt like that's what God chose me to do. I felt like that because it's like I look at everything that she's been through. I have siblings. I have 3 older siblings, but I'm the youngest of all my siblings, and I always make a joke and I tell my mom, hey, God gave you me because as the last one because he knew that eventually you would need someone to be there. Out of all of out of all four of us, I'm the only one without kids, you know, and it's almost as if my mom it's like my child, but I know she's not my child, but it's like I have to care for her. I have to cook her breakfast, lunch, dinner. I have to bathe her. I do her dialysis treatments at home now, but I chose to do the dialysis treatments at home now because I thought about COVID, you know, and this was right when COVID hit. I right away called the dialysis clinic and said, hey, is it possible we can switch her to home hemodialysis, where hemo and peritoneal dialysis is different in a way, where peritoneal, it goes like in the stomach, but hemo, there's a fistula in the arm where you have to access that fistula, with two needles, the arterial and the venous, meaning you need kind of like the arteries and the veins, so you have to access it with two needles. And I chose that because I feared her going into clinic and maybe not knowing it's a small dialysis clinic that she was attending, and not knowing what anyone else had been exposed to. I felt as if she was getting enough exposure from me coming in and out the home, but I take necessary precautions to protect her, from, try to protect her from the virus, because I know that it will probably be detrimental for her. But I chose that, and her nephrologist was on board with it. And he said, what a better person to do it than you. He was like, I'm definitely on board with it. So, we started off on a trial basis. And, the first day, the first day out of training, things didn't go as well as I thought. When I realized that, there are some things that it scared me pretty bad, because she kind of like blacked out on me. Her blood pressure dropped really low, and her is like knowing what to do. I did act as far as calling 911, but at the same time I did everything I should do, give her more fluid. It's like, but I think healthcare plays a lot. Me being in healthcare played a lot in that role, because I worked in trauma ICU as well for 7 years. So if a person is coding on me, coding meaning like near death, I know how to act quickly. I know how to respond. If CPR is going to be needed, I know how to administer that. I know how to, I just know how to act quickly. But my mom, she's been through so much, and I look at that as I cherish my mom. I know you shouldn't, I know she's not going to be here forever, but the time that I do have with her, the time that I do spend, of course I'm tired. Of course, when those 4 days a week, when I do those dialysis treatments at night, 4 out of 7 days is quite a bit. But that's time that I spend with her, time we watch TV together, the time we would eat dinner together, that's time with her. And if I was to do it all over again, especially with COVID happened, or even without COVID, I would do it all over again.